Good afternoon. It is Tuesday, September 5th, 2023 at 6 p.m. and I will call to order the Freetown Board of Selectmen meeting. This meeting will be recorded and will be available on the town's YouTube page. We will be going into executive session and then coming back into open session. We will be going into executive session for the following reason. Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21A4, to discuss the deployment of or strategy regarding security personnel or devices. So with that, I will entertain a motion to go into executive session.
Motion made.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Roll call. Is that available? Is that required?
You can do it. Selectman Lopes?
Yes.
Selectman Zager?
Yes.
Selectman Matthews?
Yes. All right. Now in executive session. All right, we are now back in open session. I'm actually going to jump ahead to agenda item 8, so you don't have to wait through the rest of our agenda.
Appreciate that.
Okay, so agenda item 8 is discuss and vote on whether to approve the street and sidewalk opening permits from Northeast Drilling Services, Inc. for 24 Alexander Drive, 7 Elm Street, 2-241 South Main Street, 11 and 15 Ridge Hill Road, 8 Water Street, and 5 North Main Street for test borings for the sewer extension project from 10/1/2023 through 12/1/2023. Okay, so just I guess can you speak a little bit just to what these obviously they're part of the sewer project, but specifically what they're going to be just for the public to see here.
Yeah, sure. So just to start, my name is Andrew Grota. I'm an engineer with Environmental Partners Group. We're working on behalf of the town of Freetown on the sewer expansion project. As part of the work, we're retaining a drilling subcontractor, Northern Drilling Services. They're going to drill approximately 43 geoprobe borings and 2 hollow stem auger borings. For the purposes of this proposed sewer expansion. The primary benefit or the reason why we're going through this exercise is to determine the geotechnical subsurface conditions along the alignment, basically to figure out, are there any pockets of rock, where groundwater is, and just get a general sense of what the soil conditions look like along the alignment. So in general, the alignment follows along that South Main Street corridor from approximately the Freetown Town Hall all the way down to the Freetown Fall River State city line or town line. So the work's anticipated to take about 8 days to complete. Northern will be on site doing the work. We'll have somebody as well observing and keeping an eye on activities. But certainly the purposes of this is just to be able to get the street opening permit to be able to do the work.
Perfect. Yeah, and there says 2.5 inches.
Correct.
So they're really small. They're not very invasive. Very
small core. The geoprobe rig, you're able to do a lot more borings in a day. The hollow stem auger rig is a little bit of a bigger machine. It gives you more detailed information, but just you're able to do less of them. So I think it was like 43 of the geoprobe borings, the 2.5-inch borings, and then the hollow stem augers, that'd be 2 of them.
And then obviously just the street gets put back into its original kind of state after.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Any other questions?
No, looks like everyone's signed off on it. And then they'll obviously contact about getting details and stuff in place. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Awesome. I think this is an exciting first step for this project. So I'm really looking forward to it. So with that, I will entertain a motion to approve the street and sidewalk opening permits for the sewer extension project work.
Motion made.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your time.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it.
We'll be in touch.
Okay. So now going back up to agenda item 2. This is the open session minutes from 8/21/2023. So with that, I'll entertain a motion to approve the open session minutes from 8/21/2023.
Motion made.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. Now we're going to the first vote is whether to close the special town meeting warrant for submissions. And this is the day in line with our original kind of timeline, right? Mm-hmm. Any questions or concerns with that?
No.
No. And I'll do that before I go through, and I guess I'll read all that. Read each of them. There's like 30 of them I want to say. Right? Is that a reasonable thing to do? And then we can make sure that if anyone's not okay with one,
Yeah.
mark it off, and then we'll do a vote on whether to include them or not. Am I jumping the gun on this, or do you think that?
No, you're going to close the warrant
Yeah.
for submissions. You can do
So-
whatever you want to do with the actual warrant articles. You can not. You can approve them to go forward to town meeting floor. You can say no, you don't want it to go to town meeting floor as a board. You can tweak them, change them, whatever you'd like to do.
All right.
Closing the submissions doesn't affect what you do with the
Perfect.
warrant.
Yeah, that's why I'm making sure. All right. So with that, I'll entertain a motion to close the special town meeting warrants for 10/23/2023 for submission.
A motion made?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Yeah, this is basically people's requests.
Yeah, all the petitions and
Yeah,
and
and the-
different boards.
Yeah,
Yep.
we don't have any petitions from the public, but all the department heads and different requests, and then the board has to decide what they want to do with them.
Okay, so I'm just gonna read the I'll read the article title, and then if it's not clear what it is, I'll read the explanation.
Okay.
And then if there's anything, they don't have numbers yet, so is there anyone you want to put on hold, just jot down the name of it, we'll circle back to it. So create the opiate settlement stabilization board. Stabilization fund. And I think this is, we know this is related to, right? This is that big settlement with all the opioid companies, and yeah. Any questions? No?
No questions. I would add that information to the explanation of articles, because at quick look, if you're not really paying attention, you're thinking that we're creating a fund and then funding it ourselves. So I would add a little blurb in there saying this is from the opiate settlement. We can speak to it, but
Yeah, so what it is the opioid settlement money comes to us, but it goes into the general fund because it's like a revenue.
Yeah.
And it can only be used for certain purposes. So in order to facilitate that, it has to be moved from the general fund, which the next article will actually move the money. But we have to set up the stabilization fund for the monies to be put into, and then we need to fund it. So actually, when you read the next article, there's a date in there, June 5th, that I think I need to change, but I have to go back and look at the articles. This was originally on the annual town meeting, and I pushed it to this meeting because we actually needed the free cash to be able to move it. And we don't get free cash until this meeting. So I think I have to change the date, but that's going to fund it.
Did that settlement actually, do you know if that settlement actually went through? Because I knew it was just recently held up in the courts.
There's so many different
Once,
settlements.
yeah, okay, yeah.
So we've got like Johnson & Johnson already. We've got, we have about 4 of the major pharmaceuticals that have settled and paid us.
Yeah.
So we just kind of keep getting checks. To say that I honestly could give you a rundown of every single pharmacy and how much we're getting, I can't. It's not an astronomical lot of money. I want to say we have $15,000 to date.
Okay.
And we might get another $15,000. I mean, we're not getting large sums of money. Some towns are, but we're not.
Yeah.
So by doing this, will the money automatically go to this fund in the future?
Yeah, I think we'll probably have to do
We'll have to go into
this
the
article
general
will
fund.
be probably on every
Yeah.
agenda,
Yeah.
And we'll move it.
special town meeting.
And then the Board of Health is really taking the reins on what to do with the funds in terms of the opioid issue, and they're working with different things. They have kept me informed. I've been talking to Lori and Kevin about what my thoughts were on it, but they're really taking the reins. They delving into what can be done, and they're talking to other Board of Health, and I think Reverend Dias over here and doing some work over there as well, or at least talking about doing some work over there. So I can request them to kind of give you guys an update when they've have a real clear plan of what they're going to do with the money. But this is just kind of facilitating it, so it will be there when they want to use it.
Yeah.
All right. That makes sense. We're going to move on. So the next one, straightforward, is just to fund the opioid settlements stabilization fund. Okay. We're good with that one. Next is funding the other post-employment benefits. This is because we're underfunded and
Yeah, so we did $250,000 out of our annual budget. I would like to try to match that at every special town meeting. It's always one of those. I don't want to leave us too short-handed for money, but if we have free cash, and I don't know we're still waiting for the free cash number, but I would like to match the annual town meeting. So I'm thinking $250,000.
Yeah.
That can be changed. You guys can say no or yes, or once I see the numbers, I may say we can't afford to do it, but I think the only way we're going to get self-funded is to start putting some money away
Yeah.
at a serious rate, where I think it's an $18 million liability.
Yeah, which is crazy. And like, if this is one of those things, it's like easy to just like kick the can on it, and it can really bite you in the long term, and we can become insolvent if you don't.
I'm not sure, but I feel like that might have happened already. Like it
Yeah.
was just not funded.
Yeah.
And then
It's not the most fun thing to spend taxpayers' money on, but it's one of those,
It's a
it's
necessary
extremely
evil.
important.
Yeah.
Well, I think at some point though, when we're self-funded, so this year alone, we spent $1.2 million of taxpayers' money to pay retirement benefits. So at some point, we won't have to take the money out of the current budget. We will have this
Yeah.
money self-funded, so we'll be able to perpetuate the retirement benefits. So it makes sense. It's just very painful to get there.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense.
And I feel like, financially, knock on wood, we're in a good place right now. So, economy changes down the road, then we don't fund it that time. But while the goods, while we have the money, we should be trying to do what we can.
That's how I feel. I'm actually having the people that do our OPEB numbers come in and sit with me and Patty and Matt, so we can better understand, because there's a carrying cost, which I think is our yearly cost of what we're paying for retirement benefits right now, that I think we might want to get to. So I'm going to do some more research on it. I understand obviously the overall concept and what we're trying to do, but there's all these reports we get, the numbers on them I don't understand. So we're going to have them come in and explain them to us so we can get a better handle on it. But we did fund $250 at the town meeting. This will be an additional $250.
All right, makes sense to me.
If
Any
we
questions?
have the free cash.
Good. All right, and then next article is capital projects to fund from free cash, and the only one I see here is 2 pickup trucks for the building department. And do we have a ballpark number there yet?
So it's actually one for the building department for the building commissioner, who is currently driving, I'm not sure what year, maybe a 2008 Camry,
Okay.
which is not the greatest to go on building construction sites.
Yep.
And the facilities department truck, which is a 2011 or 14, I can't remember. And I'm funding both of those with $45,000 apiece.
Okay.
So it's one for the building department, one for the facilities department. Again, when I see that free cash number, we can always pull those if we don't have the funds.
Yep.
But I would like to have all of the fleets sort of up to date. We have some very old vehicles. Same thing, right? I think we might have the free cash to do it this year, and that way we won't be looking at capital expenditures in the future, at least large.
So that would put us in our fleet in pretty good shape. I'm just thinking out loud, with the exception of the Jeep, right? So
What Jeep? Which one? Board of Health?
Cherokee.
Kevin got, the Board of Health agent got a vehicle at town meeting. So he's getting a brand new
That's right.
truck already. He's already been funded. So this will be, all three of them will have new, and I am asking them to do a small 4-wheel drive trucks, pickups, all same, or an SUV. And the reason being is the winters around here, we don't know. And if we ever have another catastrophic event like the bridge going out up on Narrows Road, all vehicles will be able to be deployed, right? And we like a Camry, what are we doing with the Camry in a snowstorm?
They're like Rangers.
We're bringing
like
sandbags.
Ford Rangers, or
Yeah,
like Ford F-150s or
Yeah,
something.
right. So that's the only thing that I'm asking. So I don't think there's going to be any issues with that. But then they'll all be in decent shape for quite some time, I think.
Great.
Good stuff.
All right, so the next article here is consider higher asset limits on certain real estate taxes. And the explanation here is Clause 17E allows the town to consider higher asset class in determining qualifications for exemption under Clause 17D. The amount of the annual increase will be equal to the increase in the CPI index by the United States Department of Labor, Bureau of Labor Statistics, as reported by the Massachusetts Department of Revenue. So let me try to explain to you, or let me try to say what I think this means and tell me if I'm wrong, is that so the exemption that people can get so they don't have to pay real estate taxes, rather than just having this be a flat number, tying it to CPI so that when the cost of living increases, it increases with it. right?
Right, and it's yeah. There's different categories. Some are for people over the age of 65, and they can only get $1,000 off their real estate taxes. But it's saying, okay,
Veterans with disabilities, though. I looked them up. There's a bunch of different classes, right?
and different amounts.
Yeah.
So this is just this is just to try to get it to go with inflation. So spend $40,000 in an estate for a long time, and it has never increased. So this is the assessor saying, let's let that be inflationary. It's going to be $40,000. If the state comes down and says there was a 6% inflation, that number will be $40,000 plus 6%, and then that'll be the new base. And
and then the next year will be based off that.
Yeah.
And if we ever have deflation, it'll go the other way, which I don't see that happening anytime soon. But you never know.
The next like four articles are all to do with this kind of thing in different asset categories.
That makes sense.
For the exemptions, for the real estate tax exemptions.
Yep. And then this is because I know we've had this kind of something related to this, at least before, and it's like it's setting that $40,000 number, so we wouldn't have to talk about it anymore. It would be less things to vote on a yearly basis, right? Yeah. If it's tied to a published.
And actually, I think we're going to have to change the order of the articles, but the one on the beginning of the next page talks about changing the exemption from $30,000 to $40,000. So this first one talks about the $40,000. That isn't even. We have to first. The town will have to vote on getting the asset number from $30,000 to $40,000.
Yeah.
And then it'll be inflationary from year to year.
Yeah. All right. And then so the next one is allow increase in gross receipt limits and whole estate limit qualifications. So this is just a different clause, right? So it's 41D allows towns to consider higher income and asset limits in determining qualification under exception clause 41C. The amount of the annual increase will be equal to the increase. It's the same thing.
It is. It's just there's two different categories. One is if you have low income and low assets, and then the other one is if you have decent income but lower assets, and the exemptions are different. So it's sort of two different classes, but we're just trying to do the same thing.
Keep it consistent.
Yeah.
All right. Then the next one is allow annual increase exemption from real estate taxes. So this is, Yeah.
So currently, I think on this one the exemption is $175, so it would be $175, and then it would be plus inflationary.
Yeah,
it would continue to increase each year as inflation increases.
Makes
so
sense.
It's just really all inflationary based.
Yep. And then this is just so the next one would be increase the whole state, as you mentioned. So to see if the town will vote in accordance to Mass General Law, Chapter 59, 5, blah blah blah, to increase the whole estate allowance for applicants for real estate tax exemption under said clause 41C from $30,000 to $40,000 for a single person, and from $35,000 to $55,000 for a married couple, to take effect in the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2023, and or take any action relative thereto.
So one caveat is I asked Mike McHugh, the assessors. I'm not sure we can do that retroactive to July 1, 2023. Yeah. I'm going to have to weigh in on town council, but that's one of the votes you'll make tonight for us to send this off to town council.
Yeah.
And we will make that change accordingly based on what they tell us.
All right, that makes sense. Okay, so all those, I think we're all comfortable with those and understand what they are.
Yeah, makes sense.
Just makes sense to me, yeah. All right, so next article, designate the selectmen as the appointing authority for the bylaw review committee. And this is members of most other boards and committees that are not elected are appointed by the Board of Selectmen.
Yeah, Mike was saying that this was originally appointed by the moderator. I don't recall that, but obviously that.
I'm sure it made sense at one time, but it probably.
Yeah.
I think I was a part of that, so I don't know why. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I know, the moderator, he did take a special interest in the bylaw committee, and maybe we thought it was easier at the time, but I totally think this makes sense.
Yeah.
Any issues with that?
No. Yeah. I agree with you, Trevor.
And it's nice that it's submitted by the moderator, so it doesn't look like we're just trying to take
right. Take the power back. That's all.
Let's make sure that that's clear in this.
Yeah.
I wanted this real bad. So next article, change bylaw Article 3, makeup and appointments of bylaw Review Committee. So see if the town will vote to amend Article 3 of its general bylaws, powers and duties of town officers by inserting the following section at the end thereof, the section number to be determined by the town clerk, and take any other action there too. So just what, make sure I'm understanding this.
Yeah.
So it's really, so they want to add this section. So the next section is, there shall be a bylaw review committee consisting of the town clerk or designee, a member of the board of selectmen chosen by that board, and a member of the finance committee chosen by that committee, a member of the planning board or their designee chosen by that board, the town administrator, and one resident from each precinct to be appointed by the board of selectmen, all for terms of 1 year running concurrent with the fiscal year. Said committee shall be charged with conducting periodic reviews of the bylaw, town's bylaws, no less than every 5 years or more frequently as may be requested by town meeting, and shall make recommendations to town meetings for additions, deletions, or amendments thereto as may from time to time seem advisable to do. That's fine with me.
And I think it's just a reiteration of what it actually was originally, but he wants to.
Yeah, so he says this article would codify the existence and the purpose of the bylaw review committee for easier reference and understanding its purpose and composition. So yeah, it's just kind of clearing it, making it more clear what it is for. All right. Okay, we go with that one?
Yeah.
All right, next is increasing amount of vacation for bylaw employees. And this was submitted by the
This is going to be
Buzz.
by me, and so this needs some work. I haven't had time to really work on it, but it'd be good to get your input. I think currently now, is this the existing
That's
bylaw?
the existing bylaw, and then I edited it underneath it, as
Okay.
we had discussed.
Okay,
But it probably still needs some work.
I didn't look at the edits. So currently, our bylaw employees, which is our department heads, COA director, the library director, the ACO, the Board of Health agent, and the building commissioner, they're bylaw employees.
Yep.
They come in as department heads, and they only get 1 week of vacation. And then I think on the second year, they get 2 weeks. And then not until 5 years do they get 3 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
So I've had some, some of the employees really, the bylaw employees say like, that's really not, it's not sufficient. We're department heads and we're only getting this amount. So I will tell you, I think this is similar to union language. So the minute we go and change this, what will happen, we will follow with the unions. So I think that's important to note here. But I also do believe, like when I got hired by Hanson, I walked in with 3 weeks vacation.
Yeah.
That being said, we don't want to front load it because that's a problem, right? They come in, they get 3 weeks, they leave in 3 months, and we're paying them 3 weeks.
Yeah, I like the 6 months. 6
Yeah.
months to get a week makes sense.
Yeah.
That's just kind of making sure that we at least get 6 months before we get a paid week vacation.
Plus, you can also look into the idea of accruing vacation time on a weekly basis.
And I think that might be the way the union does it. One day.
Because, I know what you're saying with front loading stuff, because even after 6 months, they wait till that 6 month and then hurry up and leave so that they get the week. That's not going to kill us, but it's the point. So after the 6 months, they start accruing on a weekly basis, however much it takes to get up to that week. They can go into the negative, but only so much.
I think the union might say 1 day per month. After the 6 months, they get 1 day per month up to the 5 days.
Mm-hmm.
And that would get you the first year. And then on the second year, once you roll over, I think this calls for 3 weeks, which is what, like I said, this is open to discussion with the board, being the personnel board here. I just thought I'd throw it on here and address it because I don't want to lose good employees because they're not getting the same vacation time as other towns and whatnot. So we can leave it alone. You can take it off. You can tweak it. I can continue to tweak it because, like I said, I think what you will find, and all the union, the 5 union contracts are different. But I do believe the admin contract is similar to this one, which is really fair for them either. I mean, they only get a week off. It's hard. There's a lot of family-oriented stuff going on, and you keep getting no time off, you know? But again, open to the board, open to discussion. We can leave it alone, not touch it. We can wait to negotiate the union and then come back and visit the bylaw one. I am open to whatever works.
That's my concern. I agree with everything you're saying. I think we all do. It's tough hiring out there and keeping them. But then we have 5 unions, right? Do we essentially give them authority, or in a sense, in their own heads, permissions to go ahead and increase their vacation time and pay and everything else? Some language in here I like. Other language I can maybe a final version or an up-to-date version of. It's just, I don't know. Do I want more vacation time for all employees? Yes. But what does the other 5 unions say?
Yeah.
I don't want to just say yes, and then all of a sudden the unions come back. Well, they're getting it now. Why we should get this? All union contracts should be the same. There shouldn't be 5 different. There shouldn't be. Yes, there's 5 different unions, but their contract language should be similar in many ways.
Their vacations language is probably similar.
That's something all right. So if someone could come to me and say, hey, listen, these are all dissimilar and we're actually stepping these employees up to their level, then I would be okay
I think
with
they're
it.
similar to the bylaw language right
All right. So then, yeah. So I have a hard time with it. I think everyone here knows how much I am about employee retention and stepping up. But here's part of the thing is we stepped up our union negotiations and gave quite a bit this past time, right? Where we kind of got everyone up to places and did a little bit bigger jumps so that employees could, be happy. Now, if we go and do this, they're going to be, and we all know the strategies that we're taking was we're giving you this big jump this last time, but you can't keep expecting this. So now if we give them at town hall something big, then they're going to be like, well, you gave it to them. Where's ours? Again, they're going to forget about what just happened for them.
we're ready. We're probably going to start negotiating union contracts soon, right? Because they're all up next June other than police. So we can hold on this and see how negotiations go and revisit this in the June meeting. Once we deal with the unions and see if there's any change in the union language.
Because we already do. Because right now we can already grant, certain provisions for vacation as a board, right? So if someone comes up to us and say, "Hey, I'm a new hire. I have a big family, or I take a lot of vacation time because I have a timeshare," whatever the reason they go on vacation, it's their personal reason, right? We can grant them additional time if needed.
Without pay. I mean, I think you don't want to deviate.
Yeah,
You get a
it is without
bylaw that
pay.
says every employee gets this. You can't really deviate from the bylaw.
So then the only other thing I would say is if the only other way you could prove it to me would be, and I know it's always tough because of certain towns are different, but like if we could look, and what we did with a lot of the union contracts, right, where we looked
I
at,
can probably find
we looked at other towns of similar size and makeup and said, okay, what is your TA get for vacation, and then could base it off of that, right? And if we said, okay, well, all these employees are, subpar everyone else, then I could justify it a little bit more. But to just give it to them, I don't know. It's tough, and I say that
So
cautiously.
do you want me to continue to work on this, or do you want me to put it on hold and then work on it for a town meeting?
I think.
Once we negotiate, and we will have negotiated the union back.
Right. So then I say, my personal thoughts are then is put it on hold because you're going to have enough going on anyways, and then that will help clarify some stuff for you, I think.
Okay, that's fine, man. So,
I agree. Like it's, I look at town employees as town employees. Some may be union, some may not, and I look at them. To me, it's a little bit unfair that if you're a union or not a union, right? Depending on how you look at it. So keeping the language similar and keeping everything fair across the board is my goal.
okay.
So
Yeah.
Okay. We'll remove that article. You did.
All right. So next article. So increase funds in the Council on Aging Department personnel. So see if the town will vote and raise the approximate transfer from available funds the sum of $10,506 to supplement the budget of the Office of the Council of Aging for the purpose of adding additional hours to the part-time senior clerk for Council on Aging. So yeah, just additional money for senior clerk at Council on Aging for the day-to-day administrative
Right.
and program.
Currently, there's one full-time senior clerk and one part-time senior clerk. Prior to that, there had been another part-time senior clerk funded by American Rescue money, COVID money. And I think that Rebecca's really, that department and the board is feeling like they really need that extra support. So this would be to get Jackie up to more hours.
Yeah.
And that would fund it.
So does that push her to the full-time status to get
I
benefits
believe
and
it. I
stuff?
believe it. Well, I don't know if she wants benefits, but yeah, I believe it would. It would put her that.
Well, at least vacation time and.
Yeah.
Well, does that mean we could pay benefits and everything else if she goes up to full time?
Excuse me, what?
Would she be, if she goes to full time, is she pulling on Blue Cross Blue Shield? Would she be getting additional benefits?
She's eligible. Whether she does or
Okay.
she doesn't is always up to the employee. I really don't ask that question. It's certainly something.
This is more of the payroll dollars that we're trying to
Right.
fund, not the
Well,
benefits.
Well, look at it like this: the programmatic tasks is that because I know we're going to be backfilling the community director position, right? Wouldn't that fall under that instead of the programmatic parts? I know the last one we concentrated a lot on the boat ramp, unfortunately, but part of that charter, part of that language for that would be tasks with the seniors. So isn't that something that that person would be doing? I just don't want to duplicate efforts because we could be hiring that individual coming up, and that then we increase these hours.
I mean, the community program director, at least my opinion was always that position would be to do things for town-wide, like do things at our Hathaway Park, do things at our bandstand, utilize our beach and our resources and have events, and Luann has come up with a lot of great ideas, have a farmer's market every Tuesday in the summer, have band night down at the bandstand on Friday nights with new talent, whatever, have art shows, have a vendor craft fair down at Hathaway Park. Use our resources
And I also
build community for the town, and work with the seniors and do trips with the seniors and take that off of Rebecca's list. So we're still trying to carve that position and make it work for the town. But I don't want someone that's just in the senior center and not doing youth programs or other things that we really need to.
And as they create new programs and stuff, it will inevitably pull on that department, right? So if there's some new programs that happen at the COA, they're going to need additional help to run those programs. So I think if someone is here creating the programs, that's great, but we need people to run them. So having this extra person or extra payroll, extra hours attached to them, I'm okay with that.
Yeah. We are lucky. We have a lot of wonderful volunteers over there too. They have a lot of support from the town people. But yeah, she just needs somebody. There's only Rebecca, the director, and then one full-time person, and then the other part-time person. If somebody's out on vacation, it severely cripples their department, and I think that's the problem too. Is they just need the staffing.
All right.
Cool.
Go with me. All right, so this one's a little wordy, but so amend general bylaws tax collector denial, suspension, and revocation. To see if the town will vote to amend Article 3, Section 3.5 of its general bylaws relative to tax collector denial, suspension, and revocation by deleting the current paragraph A and inserting in place thereof the following new paragraph. So the original paragraph was tax collector or other municipal officer responsible for responsible for records of all municipal taxes, assessment, betterments, and other municipal charges, hereinafter referred to as the tax collector, shall annually and may periodically furnish to each department, board, commission, or division, hereinafter referred to as the licensing authority, that issues license or permits, including renewals and transfers, a list of any person, corporation, or business enterprise, hereinafter referred to as the party, that has neglected or refused to pay any local taxes, fees, assessments, betterments, or other municipal charges for a period of not less than 30 days, and that such party has not filed in good faith a pending application for an abatement of such tax, or a pending petition before the appellate tax board. So that's what it was.
No, that's what she's asking.
That's what you're
it to
asking.
be.
Okay.
So I think that the change in this, and I didn't go back and check.
Getting rid of bicycle permits?
No, this is not less than 30 days. So I think the original thing says 1 year. So what this in essence does is when you go to get a permit, if your taxes are 30 days late, you cannot get a building permit, you cannot get permits. So it was a year, some towns are a day. She's asking for it to be changed from 1 year to 30 days. I do have concerns about that, but that's, again, I think for the board to discuss and see. So if you're 30 days late on your real estate taxes and you want to put an addition on your house, you're not getting it. My concern is as a developer, when I was building, and say I'm building 3 houses and I've got $1.5 million out, and I'm just waiting for one of those houses to close, and I'm a little bit behind, but I need a permit to start the next house. I feel like 30 days is a little short of a window. I get a year is a long window, so I think maybe a 90-day window. But again, I have a different perspective because I was a builder, developer, and I'm always looking for these building permits, and I'm out of business if I can't get a building permit. So I don't know, but that's the essence of it. So you couldn't go in, which is, I don't mind that provision. You know, you need to pay your taxes if you want to continue to grow, but I think sometimes people need a little bit of a deference.
Yeah. I'm surprised. So what did she say? Like, why is this a big deal to her? Like,
no, well, it just says that it's the time was reduced by the Municipal Modernization Act.
Yeah.
And then there is a thing in here about bicycle permits.
There is, but it was repealed, so I'm not sure. I guess you can't.
The issuance of bicycle permits was repealed in 2008. So you used to have to register bicycles, which is news to me.
Yeah, might be some other name for something else. Bicycle, like how it's done, being referred to as a bicycle permit or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
let's hope.
Where I kind of stand in this is like, if this was submitted by a treasurer, I think that like there should be a point of conversation. I don't know if we should really make the decision whether this should be added or removed.
Yeah.
You know, it is. I see both sides. I totally see. Like I think 90 days. Or like 6 months is what I was thinking before you even said anything. Like 6 months seems like a reasonable time, or 90 days actually is very reasonable too. I mean,
I can ask her for some more. I didn't get a chance to talk to her.
Yeah.
She's actually going on vacation, but I can try to get to her tomorrow and just have that conversation. We can leave it as is. You can always change it. You can change it on the floor.
Yeah.
You can change it. So you're saying you want it to go through to town meeting. You can always tweak that language. Like I said, change it before it gets to town meeting floor. You can change it on town meeting floor.
all right, that makes sense.
Yeah.
All right, so next one is purchase and equip new UTV rescue trailer and associated items, and this is gonna be about $80,000. Makes
This is a trailer that would be pulled by, I think, an ATV. This is all as a result of the drill we had with the train incident. Because the reality is, if a train hits a vehicle or a pedestrian on the tracks, it's going to push it down the tracks. And the rescue people, the rescue public safety first responders are going to have to get down the tracks, and they need an ATV. But all of their equipment would be on the trucks. So they need a trailer that can be pulled by the ATV with the equipment that they're going to need at the incident. So this is what it costs to get that equipment. I will tell you, we are trying to get some money from the state for this, but my approach was, let's see if we can get it from town meeting. And if we get it from the state, we can just reappropriate this money down the line.
makes sense. And I see people, dirt biking and off-roading a lot out in the Freetown State Forest anyways, and some of those trails are tough to get out to. I could see this being, I know we have some equipment already, but being prepared for that.
They just built 3 new bridges.
Yeah, I know.
Right in the trails, look nice.
Yeah. Freetown 50 is coming up.
Next 2 weeks.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, I agree with Debbie on this. Like, we should try to get money from the state. Essentially, we're swallowing this train thing coming our way, and if we have 11 stops, we have countless trains per day. At some point, it's just a math equation, right? Eventually it's going to happen at some point, right? But yeah, definitely need it. But I like to see the state pay for some of these things. It's their fault. It's happening in a sense. So,
Yep. All right. So that makes sense to keep it on here though, and then hopefully we can get some state money too. So next is buying firefighter foam. So this is fire department was previously equipped with a firefighting foam called AFFF, which contains PFAS, carcinogens, PFAS. How do you? Yeah.
Yeah, the
We avoided the costly disposal cost by petitioning DEP to include us in a program that funded the disposal of the 1,200 gallons of this foam that we had on hand. The fire department currently has no foam on hand. This will allow us to purchase a reasonable quantity of new environmentally safe foam to use on flammable liquids, and the total amount here is $3,000. That makes sense to me. Any questions or concerns with that?
no, they
All right.
need it.
Next is purchase of extraction and rescue equipment for the fire department. This is for $130,000. And
This is for new Jaws of Life.
wow, Jaws of Life for $130,000.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
I did not. I would have guessed 25,000. All right, but that's what they cost. That's what they cost.
Yeah, and ours is 20 years old and big and gasoline powered. The
Yeah.
new ones are like battery operated, smaller, lightweight, faster, and easier. And if you've seen them, I mean, they're big equipment.
Yeah.
These guys, and they use them all the time. So
Yeah. All right, that makes sense to me.
Another one I would like to see the state purchase.
Yeah, we can get some.
Big metal crashes is probably a train. So another state funded thing would be great on this.
Yeah,
he's got more than just that. He's got airbag lifting system.
Yeah.
yep. So I'm sure the Jaws of Life is a big portion of that money, but there's some
I
other
was
stuff.
surprised too when he gave me this, but
Yeah. Okay, moving on. So the next one's adding funds to Conservation Land Fund. So to see if the town will vote to transfer from available funds a sum of $16,999.48 to be added to the Conservation Land Fund established under Mass General Law, Chapter 40, Section 8C. So this is for the rollback taxes, right?
yeah, they get the rollback taxes and they like to take them to put them in conservation funds so that if the land comes available,
They have the money there to buy it. Yep. This is an
They've
every
done
year
that the
thing.
last
Yep.
few years.
Okay, so next one is transfer care and custody of 15 Richmond Road to Conservation Commission. So I looked over this one a little bit. So this is pretty much, we got some of the land from the state,
No,
right? But not all of it.
Stamp.
no, I actually think this is worded incorrectly. What happened was the MBTA deeded to conservation a parcel of land at 15 Richmond Road, and they gave us too much. They deeded us the property that has the electrical house on it.
Oh, okay.
And they want it back. So this wording needs to be fixed. I've
sell it to them
told
cheap.
Sell to them, yeah.
Victoria to have the MBTA reword it, or we will have to have town council reword it. So the preface is that we need to give them back their land with the electrical box.
Yeah, because we don't want that on. We really don't want
You
that.
sell it back to them for a premium.
So
Get the cost.
this is a
of these things you gotta
logistic type of a thing,
Yeah.
and it has to go to town meeting. So I will get the language straightened out, but the essence is what it is.
Okay, I gotcha. Next article, amend protective bylaws for stormwater management. This is EPA has issued a new requirement as part of the municipal separate storage sewer system, MS4, general permits to adopt a stormwater management bylaw. We must amend our bylaws to include stormwater management bylaw in accordance with MS4 permit in order for the town to avoid being audited and fined by the EPA. Makes sense to me.
Yep. And this is a requirement of MS4.
All right, next one is repair and maintenance on town roads, and the total dollar value here is $470,168, and they include a bunch of roads: Sony Boulevard, Lark Lane, East Public Street, Beach Street, North Hillside Street, Valley Street, Central Avenue, Ida, West Public Street, Copacut, Allen Street, White Street, Abraham Avenue, Pinewood Court. And
So
sorry, go.
I think I think what I'd like the selectmen to do is look at this for dollar value. And I say that because we just did a bid on Water Street and it came in much higher than any of us anticipated, the engineer or Chuck. So after that, which we just opened last Thursday, I think, he's pretty sure that this 470 will not do all of those streets. So I'd like to tweak the article that just asks for the money for road improvements and maybe not list the specific streets.
Yeah.
Or get back with Chuck and just tweak it, because you know how if the articles say a specific thing, that's what you have to spend the money on.
That makes sense to me.
So I don't know.
And the person who lives on, I'm just looking on Valley Street, says, oh, they were supposed to do that, and that's why I voted on it, and now they're not doing it.
Yeah.
I kind of almost, and I'd rather like just bump it up to like 500,000.
I mean, that's the thing. Do you just want to give him 500,000 to do road improvements? He does know what needs to be done in this town and what doesn't, and then he can just spend it until it's gone on what his projects
I mean,
are.
that kind of, I don't know what you guys think of that.
I mean, it is a big dollar number.
It is, but you know, this is what taxes are supposed to be paid for. Paying for, right? Is
Right,
keeping
and he
taxes
doesn't get
roads
money
nice.
other than his Chapter 90 money. So his Chapter 90 money is $400,000 a year. He has spent that already for the current year, and last year he kind of put them together, and he's doing multiple different projects as we speak.
Yeah.
But he's out of money for the rest of this year now in terms of Chapter 90. He might have a little bit left. So now his budget is, for personnel and equipment. He only gets, I think he might get $95,000 for projects, but as you know, the cost of asphalt, the cost of granite curbing, the cost of stone, if you just want a load of stone, is extremely expensive. So it goes rather quickly. And it depends on the snow. If we don't get any snow, he continues to do these projects. He goes through a lot more money. If we get a lot of snow, then he's doing snow. But so I guess, we could put in a dollar figure, and then we can revisit it once we have the free cash number.
Yeah.
Because if we don't have $500,000, we don't have it.
Yeah. So I think that makes sense. I think, is everyone on board with that? So we just let Chuck kind of prioritize what needs to be done. We don't kind of handcuff ourselves by having the specific roads on there with this specific breakdown of dollar values.
Yeah, I agree.
And you don't know what's going to happen in 2 months. We may have a flood and another road fails,
Yeah.
and he needs the money.
He needs the money for that, yeah.
So is everyone on board with that?
Yeah, keeping it clean is the
there?
way to go.
Okay.
All right, I'll tweak the language, but we'll just figure on
The article itself is fine.
Yeah, the
the
500,000.
concept of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Next is supplementing police, fire, and communication IT budget, and this is for $17,000. And this article seeks funding to include maintenance and license at the fire department, communication center, and police department computer information systems. At the time the management information system budget was drafted, it did not include these departments. And so, let me make sure I'm looking at this correctly. Yeah, so it's pretty much it's this type of software, right?
Yeah, I think these things were done when the police station opened 3 years ago, and they were purchased for 3 years, and then nobody really paid attention to the renewals, and now they're all coming due because people have had this police station open 3 years in December, and they don't have the funds.
Okay. That makes sense. That we need to have those
Yes,
software. There's no real choice there.
It's your firewall.
And it's firewall, cloud backup, antivirus, and IT services.
Yeah.
So no brainer. Okay. So this next one is for the codification of the town's general and zoning bylaws, which we had a presentation on last week. And so we're asking for $10,000 to fund that.
Right, which is basically just getting the bylaws up to date.
And organized, searchable.
Yeah.
When people call me and tell me they can't figure out the bylaws, and I have tried to do it myself, I can't figure them out. That's a problem.
I just tried updating them. I had it all done, and then I didn't hit save the correct way. And all of my work went back from 90,000 words to 1,000 words.
This is just step one of the codification. There will be a second step that's probably another $15,000 that will look at the legality of some of the bylaws and whatnot. But as much as part of me doesn't like to spend this money, I think we have to have these bylaws updated in a online, available to.
100%. Yes. Just searchable, constantly updated, like a living document that,
Right.
has things like that. It makes so much sense.
Yeah, this to me,
And some of those bylaws are probably outdated, right?
Oh, yeah.
Or they've been, when you look at the bylaws, being on like that committee, there are some bylaws that are beginning of the bylaws, and there's it talked about again throughout the whole series, and they don't make sense at the end of the day. At the end of the day, you read them, and you're more confused after reading them than you were for the intent of looking at them. So, I'm with you, Dale. I don't want to spend the money on it, but at this point, it's been so long that we've had a workable document that it needs to happen.
Yeah, I agree. All right, so next one is, talked about this, but establish a commission on disabilities. That makes sense. All right, everyone on board with that?
yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay, next is authorize the Board of Assessors to enter into a pilot agreement, which is payment in lieu of taxes.
There's a couple more. These are the solar farms.
Yep. That's fine. So, yeah, just a few of these. And that's kind of the way these things are going, right?
Right, and they've kind of stuck into the same amount of money, so they're all the same. So I think.
No.
Come on in, sir.
All right, moving on. Everyone go with that article? Yeah, moving on. Unpaid bills from fiscal year 2021. So we have $1,000 unpaid bill submitted by the Cemetery Commission. Any issues with that?
No.
All right, great. So we have a couple additional unpaid bills, which is it's come from the transfer station. Nope, sorry, this is highway. A couple articles messed up there. So it's a total of $2,800. Any questions there?
No, we're gonna pay our bills.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, moving on. Next article is related to fund purchase of roll-off containers for the transfer station, and we don't have a dollar value on this yet.
She gave me a quote of like $7,000 a piece, so I'm gonna say she's gonna be looking at $14,000 for 2 roll-offs.
So yeah, the existing ones are no longer safe to operate.
They've been used to their capacity.
Yeah, that sounds about right. All right, any questions or concerns there?
No.
All right, then we have the stabilization fund, which we don't know that yet, right?
Yeah, so I'm thinking of our stabilization has about 3.5. Our rainy day, I literally just put another 100 in it, just keep funding it, so that it keeps growing. And then capital stabilization, well, I will hold on that until we see what we have.
Thank you.
Free cash.
Yeah.
And then I don't know what the, obviously I'm trying to grow that because we have so many building needs.
All right.
So if we had the money, I'd probably put
It makes it a lot easier when, yeah.
$1 million in there.
Okay, so I think,
There's one more article that did not get submitted, and I don't know if the selectmen want to entertain. The electrical clippers to vote at the meetings.
Yeah.
I know Cheryl and I talked about it. She's put in a capital request in the past. I put it on hold because we didn't really have the funds. I want to say it's about $12,000. I'm not sure what the board thinks. Do you want to wait till annual town meeting? She seems to think it will have a great impact on how people vote, and I can see that. I can see why people.
Absolutely.
I think it'll speed up everything immensely.
Speeding up, and also like
Accuracy.
with private votes, secret votes, right? Well, not secret, but sometimes you vote for something because your neighbors in the crowd or neighbors at home are voting yes, and you want to be the one saying no. But internally, you want to say no to it, and having that option of private voting, right, is
I can
key.
work on getting the article if you're in.
I'm definitely interested in entertaining that article.
And then at the next meeting, we can always open the warrant, add the article, and then.
And I wonder, it feels like something there'd be grant money out there for too, somehow, or.
I don't know. I don't know that nothing comes to my mind about grants. Right now, we have some Shan Street grant of open.
Can we use ARPA grants for it?
Voting.
Can we use ARPA money for it? I know we're going to be talking about it in the discussion down the. There's some ARPA money left over.
You could.
Yeah.
I mean, you could use ARPA
But
money.
if it's $12,000, and I'm sure there's probably a good useful life on those. I mean, it seems reasonable to me, anyways.
Do we know if the infrastructure that's needed for it, and do our schools have it? Is it Wi-Fi?
That's where you run into the issue.
Yeah,
is
we'll
the
have to figure all
Wi-Fi.
that out.
I'll do some homework before the next meeting.
Okay. All right, so our next vote here is just to add each article. So I think we've, have consensus on all the articles except for the article related to the bylaw employees vacation time. So I guess I'll entertain a motion to add all articles besides that, the one bylaw vacation article to the special town meeting warrant for 10/23/2023.
Motion made.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And then we can vote now to send this to council, right? Even if we have a couple potentially outstanding.
I'll tweak it a little bit anyway.
Perfect. So with that, entertain a motion to send the 10/23/2023 special town meeting warrant to town council for review.
Motion made.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And then now, this is whether or not we want to do a postcard. I like the postcard.
Love the postcards.
Yep.
Although we did get one resident last time say he never got one, so we have to make sure that individual gets one.
I think I'm going to add a Freetown flash to say that the postcard's been mailed.
That's a good idea.
And that way people that maybe they didn't get it, they can call us, they can look on our webpage, whatever.
Yep.
Yep.
And we know that they're not cheap, but I think that it's important to do. I think it's a useful kind of exercise. All right. So with that, I'll entertain a motion to produce a postcard to be sent, one per household, for the special town meeting on 10/23/2023.
Motion made.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Is this something we could vote on, like at some point, just to the default is send out the postcard? If we voted to just do that,
Yep.
just something. Maybe we'll think about that in the future. And then we can just put that into the budget.
I think it is in our budget anyways.
Yeah.
We split the budget with
We do it one
FinCom.
time, like we usually do June and FinCom does the October.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
We may want to look into an electronic version.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, agenda item 7. Yeah, electronic, I like that too. Agenda item 7 is discussion and vote whether to increase the 2023-2024 snowplow rates by $5 per an hour and have a sign on bonus of $5 per an hour for all paperwork that is in and approved by the Board of Selectmen by 10/20/2023. I like this idea. It's a good incentive to get people to,
Get in and get early, and then if we have an early storm, then
yeah, and it's
we're not scrambling with
Farmer's
just.
Almanac is calling for a
For a nasty one this year. Yeah.
So it's increasing the hourly rate by an additional $5 if they get it in on time.
And then another additional
Then they get
$5.
another
also-
$5.
$10 an hour extra.
I don't know if you want to consider just a lump sum that you're going to give them, because if you end up with a couple of blizzards or something like that, that could be a lot.
Well, my thought on this was, well, what if we increase the $5 an hour, but then do a sign-on bonus of, say, $250 or something after the first storm? Well, I guess you would have to just give it to them regardless, because if they get the stuff into us, it's not waiting on a storm, but saying, okay, here's get it into us by this date, and we'll give you an extra $250 or whatever. The problem is you can't do it a slap in the face. You can't say $50. They're going to be like, well, it's not the end of the world. But
yeah.
I like the thought behind this. I just don't like that could add up quite a bit. $10 extra.
Right now,
I don't like the $5 on top of the $5. I think that might be a bit excessive. I agree.
Yeah.
So right now they're getting $85 an hour for 8-foot plow.
Right.
$91 for a 9-foot plow.
Mm-hmm.
So I understand what you're saying, but on percentage, it's really not that big of a increase.
I would like to see how many hours on average and what that equates to dollar-wise, right? And then beyond that, where do we stand versus other towns? I have a funny feeling that we're probably okay, but not top paying either, because that's pretty much our MO with most things. So, yeah, I don't know. I see both sides of the coin on this one. I'm not.
Yeah, they do a great job cleaning the roads.
Absolutely, yes.
That's a hat to them. They're great.
So an extra $10 an hour would be
95, 101.
Depends on how much it snows.
Right.
It really does.
It really does, and that's where the gamble is. If it was last year, no skin off our backs, right? Because it barely
It didn't snow.
didn't snow. I think it snowed a total of like a half inch all year, right? But if this year, if the Farmer's Almanac is correct, and we're slammed starting in October or November, that's a lot of money.
I do also see the other side of it where Chuck has scrambled to try and get help where he hasn't had, he's like, if we had the snowstorm beyond town trucks, we'd have 2, and it's just.
No, he has struggled, especially with getting all the paperwork in, because there's quite a bit we need from insurance paperwork to.
And there's cost. That's the other part of it that we're not talking about is this cost associated to the guy. If it's you going out with your truck, right, you're having to increase your insurance before it even snows.
Yeah, I think the other part here, like, I think Chuck's saying here, right? Because I'm assuming, yeah, it's like, right now it's 9.5. If how many people do we think will actually sign up by 10:20?
Fresh $10 an hour? That'd be my incentive to get going.
Which is,
probably why he did it, why he's saying that. And I agree with him.
Just I know we have to approve these every year. It's like they're dragging on into November, December a lot of times.
Yeah.
We have stragglers that are, adding on. And I think you're right. It's like where we compare to other towns. But it's too bad Chuck's not here, because I know he'd probably have a good reason for why he's asking for this.
Well, I know last year I was trying to help put the message out and everything else, and I kept asking Chuck every chance I saw him, how are we doing with how many drivers we have, and it always seemed like we get some, we lose some, or we didn't have enough, or we were always looking for more. So I think this is his way of trying to get to the roster being filled, right, prior to any storms coming.
I think that he's trying to get out in front of it and get people and pull them from other towns. I think at this rate we will be higher than other towns, and I think that's his goal, is to get them, because we have yet to be fully staffed, and at least since I've been here, I think we've gotten about 20, maybe 20.
It's like 25 trucks, and he wants like 35 or something.
Yeah,
like that.
so I think he's been consistently short, in his opinion, of what he needs if we get a crazy season.
And it's like the other part of it, right? It's like the amount of money we're spending, all the same amount of snow needs to get moved.
Yeah.
Right. So it's not like we're spending. We're going to spend the money either way. We're going to pay some people a lot more hours, or we're going to pay more people less hours.
You
Right?
can always try it. It may not work. I think people they're pretty diligent. A lot of them are diligent about getting their paperwork in early, but you always got those that just aren't. We have some that still don't have their paperwork in.
I think a lot of them too, they'll wait until the snow flies, and then they'll hit the registry before they pay all that money on their vehicles.
Yeah, insurance, because they don't want to have to get.
It's always that insurance piece that waits for us. Like, we need the registration and the insurance, and that will come in right before a storm.
And that's why I was thinking about that lump sum up front. But then I say, okay, well then that means if I threw a number out there of $250 again, that would mean that individual would have to work more than 50 hours for us before that became cost effective for us, versus just giving them the $5 an hour. Now, some years that would work great in our benefit. If that was done last year, that would have been a terrible decision. So we're rolling the dice. And
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess I was just thinking of it more from the known variables, right? Because
The other part. So if we don't vote on this today, though, right, then we have 2 weeks.
Right.
Yeah.
Kind of get some more information.
You can vote on part of it and not the other. You can vote on increasing the rates $5 an hour.
And then not do
And
the
not do the other one and
the
think
bonus?
about that. And I can have Chuck come in.
And that can allow us, if you've decided on the rates, we can mail the applications out.
Yeah,
people to
I think
start the ball rolling.
I feel like just with the inflation, it can make sense to go $5 an hour. I'm sure there's.
Well, in the cost of gas, everything else, right? The cost of repairing the vehicle. So I agree with it. I would is it going to cost us an extra $5,000 or an extra $50,000? And I don't know that
It's
number.
extremely expensive. I want to say each storm almost costs us $100,000.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I guess I'm saying like the increase
Yeah,
of what would be. So, but
It's probably a $5,000 if they get their paperwork in early.
Right.
but we'll all be the first ones to complain when our street isn't plowed when we're trying to leave to go to work. So
Right.
It is. It's really we're trying to predict what Mother Nature's going to do, and we can't.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's tough.
So, what? The more I think about this and talk out loud, I think the more I'm kind of okay with it.
Right. I mean, I'll just put it, so I'll entertain a motion to increase the winter 2023 snowplow raise by $5 per hour and a sign-on bonus of $5 per hour if all paperwork is in and approved by the Board of Selectmen by 10/20/2023.
I'll make the motion.
I'll abstain. I agree with half of it, not all of it. I just need more information.
All right, so I'll second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Do we need to make the date 10/23 as opposed to 10/20 if it's approved by the board? Because you have the meeting on the 23rd, not the 20th.
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah, so 10/20, yeah, so I'll amend that motion. I mean, or how about this? I'll entertain a motion that, I'll entertain a motion we vote to increase 2023-2024 snowplow rates by $5 per hour and sign-on bonus of $5 per hour if all paperwork is in and approved by the second Board of Selectmen meeting in October, whatever date that is.
I'll make that motion.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Gives a little wiggle room.
Smart.
All right. We already
Be
took.
10/16.
Okay. So is that the third one?
10/23 is town meeting, and that would be your third meeting.
Okay.
Sorry.
No, that's fine. 10/16. Let's just leave it at that. That's fine. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, if you think that's a big enough difference, we're giving them a month. Send them out today.
Yeah.
Okay. So we already took care of agenda item 8. Next is discussion on Bristol County ARPA projects and review projects funded with ARPA funds. And this is on page 53.
I brought mine, but I don't know where it is.
All right. So the Bristol County ARPA funds starting amount was 1.5 million, almost 1.6 million. And the projects we have are the water meter project, which is 375,000, the sewer line engineering, which is 200,000, public safety radio project, 350,000, public fiber project, 200,000, water tractor, 35,000, and water generator, 35,000. Leaving, so that totals to about 1.2 million. The remaining is about 375,000.
Right, and that's Bristol County opera. So those are the projects, the water meter projects, that's about done. We might have a few thousand left over. I have to figure out how to handle that. The sewer line is, that's what those test borings are for. We're moving forward, but this will be underfunded. I'm going to need more funds in the sewer line project. The public safety radio project, my original intent was to see if I could get the $350,000 from Bristol County Opera and then repurpose the money that we get at town meeting, which was $850,000. Unfortunately, we're at $1.25 million for the radio project right now with the latest quotes because the equipment that was originally quoted was used in Dayton and was substandard. So we needed to re-quote all of the equipment, and it came in at $300,000 higher than the original equipment. And also we added a digital frequency for the fire department, which increased our equipment, which increased our cost by about another $75,000. And then just time, everything's more money. So here we are. So I'm going to need more money. I'm going to need probably another $75,000 for the public safety radio project to get that done. Now, the board can vote to use ARPA funds, or the board can vote to put an article on the warrant to go to the townspeople, but they've already given us $850,000. The public fiber project hasn't started yet. This, with the grant that we got, gives me $535,000. I'm still a little bit short with that. I'm trying to get the contractors to come down to meet that because there's always these hidden pieces to these things like police details and just off things that I don't have any funds to pay with. So as it sits right now, I kind of like to leave our ARPA money as it is and come back to the board when in fact I know I'm going to be needing some funds. Because I have no other place to get funds, right? Short of going to town meeting, there's no way for us to get funds to do anything. And the reason why I brought this up is the state recently, the federal government recently changed what ARPA can be used for. If you remember, it was like water, sewer, broadband. and maybe premium payments to essential workers. So that's why we picked the projects that we picked. But they just opened it up now to include housing and roads. So unfortunately, I was like, oh, I'd really like to use some money on the roads because Chuck is asking for all this money. But I'm nervous because, like I said, if we run short on the sewer line engineering and we spent, so don't forget the sewer line is $200,000 here, but we got $775,000 in a grant. So that's $975,000 that we've already committed. And say we're $50,000 short when we get to the end because of the police details. How are we going to fund that? Now, we know that townspeople, because it's a limited project for a limited area, has no appetite to use tax dollars.
Yeah.
So I just wanted you to get kind of up to date where we are at. I have not gotten the $350 from Bristol County Opera because there was some procurement issues. Bristol County Opera is federal money and it needs to be federally procured. And these radios were already ordered and we used a state bid list, which is perfectly acceptable for state procurement, but not federal. So I was concerned that I couldn't use Opera money.
It's like classic red tape.
Yeah. But then they just came down and said, if the state bid used a competitive process, you can use that for your federal procurement. So I've got to go back and see if I can make this work, and then I can fund the radios through this Opera money.
Okay.
The fiber project, I just haven't put it through to Opera. I don't foresee an issue. And the water tractor is a backhoe for the water department. I just haven't put that through Opera.
Yeah.
That shouldn't be a problem. The generator is all done. That's just about, I think that's up and running. So I just wanted to kind of get you guys up to speed.
Well, should we leave that remaining ARPA as a cushion?
Buffer.
I think so, but
that sounds like
The only thing I would say, the only caveat is, but I don't think that there's any road in this town that I can say Chuck isn't going to have the money and it's going to become a safety hazard, right? So I think leaving this as a buffer with the way that costs of everything go these days is a very wise decision.
Yeah, then it just prevents us needing to go back to town meeting.
Right.
Back to town meeting, especially when you're talking, so obviously, as we all know, with the radio stuff, right? That's been a number one goal of mine to make sure, not just mine, us, to make sure that we get this up and running and get communication the way it should be
And
in
just
this
make things
town.
more efficient too, having that buffer.
Yeah, and so just so you know, ARPA money has to be designated what you're going to do with it by December of 24. So we still have a year.
That's fine. Yeah, it's plenty of time.
And then you have to spend it by 26. So I'm, on top of the ARPA money, but I wanted you guys to know where we're at.
No, okay, I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Plenty of time.
Federal ARPA money is, $950,000.
Mm-hmm.
We allocated $750 for the fire station project.
Yep.
And $20,000 to get an assistant for procurement. So you still have that money sitting there as well. Again, I think that's a good buffer. I don't know how the fire station project's going to fall. I feel like it's a good buffer to have there because that can be used for anything. It's not pigeonholed for any particular project. Again, still need to do federal procurement, which makes my life a little more challenging. But so you do have a couple of $100,000 available under federal ARPA monies if something should come up that you need the money. The other thing is it's quick, right? All this other stuff, you're going to go to town meeting. If you say, something happens and we need $100,000, you vote on it, and the federal money we have sitting there, by the way, earning interest at almost 5%.
Yep.
So we're
Perfect.
making money on that money right now.
That's awesome. All right, so no votes really needed, right?
No, I just wanted you to be up to
All right.
speed with everything.
It is 7:17, so I'm gonna switch over to have the public hearing now. Time really got away from us there. So. All right. So I'm gonna read the public notice.
That's fine.
Town of Freetown, public notice, 9/8/2023. Verizon New England Inc. and NStar Electric Company, DBA Eversource Energy, request permission to locate poles, wires, cables, and fixtures, including the necessary anchors, guides, and other such sustaining and protecting fixtures to be owned and used in common by your petitioners along and across the following public way or ways: Chase Road. Install one JO pole 15/99.5 on the southerly side of Chase Road. New locations being approximately 2,275 feet east of the center line of Memorial Drive and is 57 feet west of the existing pole 15/99. relocate one JO pole 15/100 on the southerly side of Chase Road. New locations being approximately 2,181 feet east of the center line of Memorial Drive and is 40 feet west of the pole's current location and is 99 feet east of pole 15-101/101. The installation is being requested due to long wire spans between the existing pole locations. Two new poles are required to ensure that the wires can be kept above a minimum height. Wherefore, they pray that after due notice and hearing as provided by law, they are granted joint or identical locations for and permission to erect and maintain poles, wires, and cables together with anchors, guides, and other such sustaining and protective fixtures as they may find necessary. Said poles to be erected substantially in accordance with the plan filed here within, marked VZNE, Inc. Plan number MA 2023-21, dated April 17, 2023. This is a plan mailed to abutters and is available by request at the Board of Selectmen's office on 3 North Main Street in Assonet. Also for petitioners to lie and maintain underground laterals, cables, and wires in the above or intersecting public ways for the purpose of making connections with such poles and buildings as of each said petitioner may desire for distributing purposes. Your petitioners agree that space shall be reserved and maintained for the limited purpose of attaching one-way low voltage wire and police signal wires owned by a municipality or governmental entity for public safety purposes only. A hearing to consider the above will be held on September 5th, 2023 at 7 p.m. at the police station committee room, 15 Memorial Drive, East Freetown, Mass. Persons interested in commenting may appear at this public hearing. If unable to attend the public hearing, comments may be submitted in writing no later than the close of business on Wednesday, August 30th, 2023 to the Board of Selectmen, North Main Street, Assonet, Mass. 02702. Okay, with that, I'll open the public hearing. And are you here for the public hearing, sir?
I am, yes.
Are you representing?
Don Bonner with Verizon.
Okay, awesome.
It's on already. Oh, green is probably, yeah, go, right.
That was a mouthful, that.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Well, I will apologize then because I wrote that. I'll try and make it
well
short.
written. It's well written. It's just a lot. Okay.
It's standard form. So,
yeah, no, of course.
Your name for the record?
Sure. My name is Don Bonner, representing Verizon. I trust you guys have a map in front of you? Okay. Normally, these type of meetings are the ones I really like, small town with a few people to talk in front of, and everything's done according to plan. Unfortunately, this is not one of those meetings. And the reason is, I come to these meetings to ask your permission to put the poles in. That's my purpose for driving 2 hours to get here, and then surveying the site, and then coming to talk to you and explain to you why it's needed. Unfortunately, somebody has already installed the poles. So they're already in place, which puts me in an awkward position. However, I have to let you know what's going on at the site. So the point was to look exactly like it looks on the map, and I was out at the site. I measured. Everything looks pretty close to what it should look like. The purpose is still valid. Unfortunately, somebody jumped the gun and already didn't wait for your permission. So I can only apologize for that happening. And if you're angry, you can imagine how angry I am, because I now need to own up to this and then bring it back to them, because this is not the first time this has happened. It happened to me a couple months ago out in Western Mass, and this is not good, because this is not the way the process is supposed to be. It's in place for a reason, because you folks represent the people of the town, and this is a public way, and these poles are being put for a reason on a public way, and I don't know what more I can say other than those are the facts.
I appreciate your honesty there, and honestly, there's a lot of work going on. I didn't notice them going up, but I do appreciate you, being straightforward and dealing with the situation.
I do have one question.
Yep.
Is it okay?
Yeah, please.
you have language in here that says that you'll allow the town a one-way low voltage fire and police signaling wires owned by the municipality or government entity for public safety purposes only. We are working on a municipal fiber project that will tie all of our town buildings together by fiber. And it was my understanding that we could put the fiber on the poles with our original agreement that we had. And this, to me, looks like we wouldn't be able to.
No, that's standard language that just, they can run that additionally for fire and safety purposes. It's basically saying you can use the poles.
Yeah.
They're on your land. So you can use them to do whatever you need to be done as well. But us and there's other entities are going to need to use the poles too, right. Not just us, but they're there for the public use as well. But in addition, Verizon would want to make sure that their wires get strung out too, and that's the main reason, other than putting the pole in the ground and being, steadfast in place, that something that's going to need permission needs to be asked for these things to happen. But I wouldn't worry about something like that. That language is in there just to make sure that people understand that it's going to be running for those safety precautions as well. That's a purpose of these poles.
Gotcha.
Is there a cost to making the poles ready for the fiber?
I assume whoever's going to put them up is going to put them up at whatever cost they do. There is no cost to Verizon. You wouldn't have to pay Verizon, no.
So one question on, how this happened before the permission, just to kind of clarify that. Was it like a subcontractor of Verizon who went out there and just, they're just pending this meeting?
Yeah.
And it just happened beforehand?
Yeah, so generally what happens is I come to this meeting, I ask for permission. Yep. And more often than not, permission's granted. Yep. And I go immediately home tonight and I will write the right-of-way manager and I will say, we have approval, and he will, as soon as he comes in the next day, he will release it to the pole teams. Yeah. And the pole teams will put it in their queue and they'll get it done in due course. Yeah. And, for whatever reason, somebody must have been in the queue, or somebody must have co-opted it into their queue and just got it done because they knew it was coming. Yeah. But that just because it's coming doesn't, some people.
Luckily, right, we don't have a bunch of abutters here who are going to complain about something, right? Because that can happen. I've seen it happen.
You folks represent the abutters, whether or not
absolutely.
They're here. So, and I understand that. So.
No, just out of curiosity.
We all said it, and I'm going to say it again. Thank you for your honesty, because that goes a long way in my book. So you come in here and saying, "Hey, we screwed up, and this is what we did." So thank you for that.
Yeah. Any questions?
No.
I guess if there's any way we could mitigate that happening in the future, obviously.
I will be your biggest proponent.
Okay. All right. I appreciate that.
And I do need to still ask permission.
Yeah, of course. We'll close the hearing. Yeah. I got you. All right. Anything else before I close the hearing?
No.
Okay. So I'll entertain a motion to close the hearing.
Motion made.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, and then agenda item 22, I'll entertain a motion to approve Eversource poll locations request from the public hearing.
Motion made.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, at least it made your life a little bit easier then.
Thank you, guys.
All right, thank you.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Have a safe ride home.
Thanks.
2 hours. Hope they're paying you well.
All right.
It's a lot of driving.
Yeah.
Okay, so we got done with agenda item 10. All right, moving on. We have a long way to go here tonight, folks. So next is outfit the town's fleet of vehicles with GPS. So
that's a lot of buzz around town.
I know. I saw.
Wondering what
isn't that funny?
Yeah.
our vehicles are doing.
I saw it online. That is what it is. But
This actually came as a request from one of my department heads.
Yeah.
You know, we have vehicles and we don't always know where they are. Luann has done some homework and costs and put that together. It's also something I need to go to the union to get approved. So it's not that this isn't your decision and then it moves forward. This is something I wanted to have the discussion with the board and see if they're interested in this or not. And then from there, it'll be something that we talk further with the unions on. And I'm not talking about police because that's, you know, I'm talking about my department heads, all the new vehicles we're getting, Board of Health, Building and Facilities, and Highway Department. So we're not talking about
okay,
police
well then
and fire.
that makes me a little bit happier because I'm saying, okay, what do we have? 60 or 70 vehicles at $20 a month. You know, we're going to be spending $15,000-$20,000 a year.
I feel like police and fire check in with dispatch. They kind of know. They know where they're at. I mean, and this is not.
And nor
because
do
we've
they
had a
always
problem.
want all their vehicles to be known where they're at. So there's that caveat of it all, right?
So it'll affect the bylaw employees, not a union, and the only union will be the highway department, the highway union.
Yeah. It does seem like just like getting ahead of potential problems down the road, even if nothing's happening now. I think, you know, you just long term, you keep people honest by having a GPS in the car. It does make sense to me.
The other part of it to me is monitoring, right? We're spending $21 a month per vehicle. If we're not really doing anything with it, we're tossing that money in the trash as far as I'm concerned, you know? So there's that part of it. I don't know. Truthfully, it's something I'm not really that keen on, and I get why, but I'm just not that keen on micromanaging of employees either, so.
Yeah.
Well, as Tom asked us, do we get any type of insurance benefits from this? Do we get a percentage off insurance-wise? I'm just trying to. I share a lot of your same concerns, Jared. I truly do. But at the same time, it is town property. We have to make sure town property is protected, right, at all costs. So you said the department head requested this. So you have one department that wants this for their fleet of vehicles.
That makes me feel a little bit better, truthfully.
Yeah, no, it does.
Yeah, this was not brought forward by myself.
No, I didn't think
it
you
makes
would.
sense, and I like I said, so it's open for discussion for the board. Like I said, there's other steps I have to deal with after the fact, but I figured I'd ask the question.
Yeah, and so that AT&T, so for that second option, so the first option is $20.50 per month per vehicle. No cost of installation. It includes the Wi-Fi fees and for on Verizon Wireless, so it uses like a cell phone card. The other one is like $76 on Amazon. You have to self-install it. It comes with the AT&T mobile card for 1 year. Do we know what that kind of cost is every year thereafter?
And I'm not sure how well AT&T or T-Mobile works in the town.
Sure.
Yeah.
I did a demo with the first one, and it can actually take care of your fleet maintenance. It tells you when you need oil changes. It can track speed. It can track location. You can put parameters on it.
In the EOD
Like if you say this
Yeah, that's
vehicle
what I was
shouldn't leave
wondering.
town,
Is it
it'll
like
ping.
email you, right?
I have one of those in my car through Verizon actually.
I'm through OnStar. OnStar provides that every year.
It's like $5 a month for me, but it's in addition to my Verizon plan. But it does tell you, like, it can tell you if you know any kind of engine issues. It's like ODB2. Is that what it's called? I think so.
Yeah, like I said, if your fuel pump's going, it'll give us a warning.
Yeah.
And you design it with their assistants to say, these are the things I want to track. And these
Yeah,
are the
like
things I
going
don't
over a
want to do.
certain speed limit, you can set
Yes.
geo fences.
It also has
So if it's,
something
like,
about-
over in Dartmouth for some reason. You know,
Yeah.
you can tell.
You said that like if people are doing hard braking and things like that, then you could see that.
Yeah.
So if there was a problem.
Yeah.
That's tough.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I don't think we have to vote on this right now,
No,
right?
you know, it's
But
just a
something
conversation to
think.
keep having and
It's another one where you get both sides of it, right?
Yeah, I don't like to be micromanaged either. I mean, I get that.
you know, it's funny because like we have cameras in different places in town, and I don't look at the cameras unless there's an issue, right? Unless an issue comes up, then I go back and I look at the cameras, which hasn't really happened. But that's the thing. It's like I don't think that anybody will be micromanaging these or watching them unless there's a problem, and
Yeah.
then we go back and say, okay, where was this person at this time, or We haven't seen this
Someone
person in 3 hours. Where are they?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean,
That's invaluable when that does happen. Yeah.
and I guess so. One thing to check, just because it is a serious cost, right? That can add up. I think when it's say if it's $20 a month, if we can look at if there is any kind of insurance like benefits or anything of that
Just
nature.
email them.
That's
Yeah.
too good.
All set.
Too good. Unbelievable.
Wow.
And like the house, like your home insurance, right? If you have a ring, that's one thing, a
Yeah.
camera. But if you have a service for the ATT or even
Whatever it is,
ring,
yeah.
right, your insurance gets reduced by 5-10%. So that'd be interesting to see if that's something that a municipality can also tap into, which would be
Yeah.
nice.
I think I might have seen it actually on the Maya Rewards paperwork. I think it's on there.
Okay. All right. That's something
We
worth.
were looking at it and I was like, oh, look, it's here. I think it is on there.
I don't know because they were offering to pay for it, right?
That was one of the ones that you could get the grant monies for as well,
Okay.
or the two-factor. Or
Look
whatever.
into
Okay,
it.
so we'll add this. Would get a little more information. Maybe see if we can figure out how much if we go with that, the cheaper option or the more price up front, but like
It has a lot of service with that.
Well, I think that and I don't want to drag this on forever, but to your point is if it automates certain things, then it kind of forces the information upon us versus if we just have something and we have to go in and actively look at it to get the information. Yeah. And that's why I
what I would use it for, right? When I valet my car, I can set. I have a setting so it says like I'm in valet mode. So if someone's like beating on my car, RPMs go over a certain amount, or if it leaves a certain area, it gives me a notification.
Yeah.
Well, that is definitely, one way to look at it is just keeping people honest. The other
keeps the honest
way to
person
look at it
honest,
is
yeah.
that it's micromanaging. All right, so
Do you have this one?
next is agenda item 12 is to vote on whether to approve or change the makeup of the sewer line extension committee as submitted by town administrator. So I'll read the charge and the makeup. So the charge is the committee will work with the consultants and engineers to determine the location and applicable details of the sewer line extension project. And the makeup would be the sewer line extension committee will be comprised of 2 sewer commissioners, the town administrator, the planning and use administrator, 1 planning board member, and 1 economic development committee member, and 1 board of health member.
And I wanted to add to that or designate.
Or designate. Yeah, that makes sense to me.
And that's
This is the one they're going to sign.
Like that's if like there's like someone specific who we think.
well, it's like the Board of Health, but they may want Kevin to be on the.
Yeah.
And Kevin has a lot of valuable
Experience
information
exactly.
about-
He wouldn't necessarily fall into any of these, but like yeah.
so he'd be the Board of Health designate.
Yeah, exactly. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And so I
Or
think
health
7
member.
is a good number.
Yep.
Right. Where it's not too big, it's not too small. 'Cause it's a serious project, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and I just figured Victoria, she, because she's involved with conservation and planning, and so she can cover both of those needs, and also hopefully with the 2 sewer commissioners, myself and Victoria, we don't run into too much of a quorum issue either.
Yeah, because you got people there. All right. Yeah. With that, so I'll entertain a motion to approve the charge and makeup of the sewer line extension committee as submitted by town administrator with the addition of adding or designee to the board of health member.
Just the Board of Health.
Sorry, to all.
All of them.
Yeah, designee to all of the different. I don't know what the word is. Categories. Yeah. Jeez.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I'm losing it. It's been a long day. All right.
Yeah. That's what
All right. So next, agenda item 13. This is the bid for the post-closure environmental monitoring at the transfer station. It looks like we only got 1 bid, and that's from Riverhawk. So the quote is
currently do it.
yeah. So this is something I'm assuming we're legally obligated to do this, right? The quote's $29,950 for 1 year, and then just a 3-year contract at $89,850. And yeah, so we don't have any options here. We have to do it. So any issues?
Makes it easy.
Nope.
So I'll entertain a motion to award the bid for the post-closure environmental monitoring at the transfer station to Riverhawk Environmental LLC.
I'll make that motion.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And now we have the agreement. So I'll entertain a motion to approve the agreement between the town of Freetown and Riverhawk Environmental LLC for post-closure environmental monitoring at the Holland Road landfill effective 9/1/2023 through 8/31/2026.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Aye. All right, moving on to agenda item 15. This is a vendor contract between the town of Freetown and Mid-City Scrap Iron for refrigerant removal. Hold on.
I think this just requires us to remove the refrigerant.
Yeah,
So we send things over. We signed it last year. It's just-
yeah, it's the same kind of thing. Okay, any questions?
No.
All right, so I'll entertain a motion to approve the vendor contract between the town of Freetown and Mid-City Scrap Iron for refrigerant removal.
Motion made.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, now agenda item 16 is discussion and vote whether to approve the mission statement, makeup, and action items of the Commission on Disabilities, and I'll just read that real quick. So the mission statement is to ensure compliance with the Americans with Disabilities Act, ADA, and advocate for the rights of disabled residents in the town of Freetown. The goal is to bring about the full and equal participation of people with disabilities in all aspects of life. Membership. The COD will consist of 5 members, with a majority of members should have disabilities. 1 member should have an immediate family member or person with disabilities, and 1 member shall be either an elected or appointed official. The term of the first-year members of said commission shall be for 1 year, 2 or 3 years, and so arranged that the term of 1/3 of the membership expires each year, and their successor shall be appointed for the terms of 3 years each. Action items. Action item 1, research local problems of people with disabilities. 2, advise and assist town officials and employees in ensuring compliance with state and federal laws and regulations that affect people with disabilities. 3, coordinate or carry out programs designed to meet the problems of the people with disabilities in coordination with the program of the Massachusetts Office on Disability. 4, review and make recommendations about policies, procedures, service, activities, and facilities of departments, boards, and agencies of the town as they affect people with disabilities. 5, provide information, referrals, guidance, and technical assistance to individuals, public agencies, businesses, and organizations in all matters pertaining to disabilities. And 6, coordinate activities of other local groups organized for similar purposes. Everyone good with those?
Yeah.
Mission statement, members, and action items?
Yeah.
All right, awesome. So with that, this is an awesome thing we're doing, by the way. So I'll entertain a motion to approve the mission statement, makeup, and action items for the Commission on Disabilities.
Motion made.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, now I'll kick it over to personnel.
All right, item agenda 17, acknowledge the disclosure form submitted by Tim McIntosh and Mary Zendes Brown. For these, just a simple acknowledgement. Tim is our assistant clerk. He's going to be also working as a recording clerk for various committees after hours. Miss Zendes Brown, she's acknowledging that she's in the butter to a variance, potential variance across the street on the lane. So those are just standard forms. And thank you for acknowledging that or submitting those. Item agenda 18, acknowledge the letter of resignation from Vanessa Blanchette, recording clerk, effective 8/30/2023. Thank you, Vanessa, for your time with the town. Item agenda 19, discussion and vote whether to approve the following appointments. A, David Donahue, a signal operator, trainee, part-time, effective September 1st, 2023 through June 30th, 2024. B, Elton E. Ashley III, as a police officer, effective 9/1/2023 through 6/30/2024. C.
Excuse me, Selectman Lopes.
Yes.
Was a special police officer.
Yeah.
Oh, didn't I say that?
No.
I'll say it again. B, Elton E. Ashley III, as a special police officer, effective 9/1/2023 through 6/30/2024. Sorry, Elton. C, Tim McIntosh, as recording clerk for Economic Development, Finance Committee, COA Library Committee, Community Building Committee, Bylaw Review Committee, and Building Committee, effective 9/5/2023 through 6/30/2024. I don't see any issues with any of these. Entertain the motion to approve the following appointments as read, A through C.
I'll make that motion.
I will second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Item agenda 20, discussion and vote whether to approve the appointments from town clerk for public records clerk as stated on attachment A. So attachment A just lists the names of people of all the committees, essentially naming looks like their chairs or a designee within that committee to become their records clerk. Any discussions, issues, or comments?
Nope.
Perfect. I entertain the motion to approve the appointments from the town clerk for public records clerk as stated on attachment A.
Make that motion.
I will second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, nice.
Right. On to you.
Where's the next?
Xavier?
Me. All right. Agenda item number 21. Discussion and vote on whether to approve the MOA between the town of Freetown and Luann Souza for boat ramp coverage. So as you all are well aware, the gentleman who was in charge of it resigned, and Luann gracefully decided that she would go over there with
She was excited too.
pom-poms.
Voluntold.
So excited. My
to
favorite.
help us through what we all know has been a thorn in our side. So first of all, I want to say thank you, Luann, because Debbie will be the first one to tell you after she's dealt with it at all that it's not an easy thing, and now you're working 7 days a week because then your 2 days off, you're dealing with it. So I honestly can't thank you enough, Luann. I mean that. So what's being proposed is that we back pay Luann for $175 per weekend from July 14th through October 1st for covering and managing of the facility, which is basically will be paid in a stipend for $2,100. And I think that's more than fair to have to be running back and forth and dealing with phone calls and call outs and whatever. It's, so, and still right up till yesterday messaging me about stuff, right? So she's still dealing with it. Obviously it's still within the time frame, but last night it was a holiday and she was still dealing with it. So, I think it's money well spent. I mean, if anyone have any questions, concerns?
No. I think it's very fair, and
It's a challenging area.
Yes, it is.
who would have thunk? Boat ramp is one of the biggest headaches we have going.
Yeah. I guess it's kind of a good thing. I don't know.
Yeah.
All right. So with that, I will entertain a motion to approve the MOA between the town of Freetown and Luann Souza for the boat ramp coverage.
Make that motion.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. And now we're just going to sign, and then we will adjourn.
So while you're signing, I just want to update you. I think I sent it to all of you, but for the public's benefit too, that we are, Desi approved the agreement to allow Freetown into the Bristol Plymouth
Oh, really?
Vocational School.
Oh, awesome. I was thinking about that yesterday. That's funny.
As of July 1 of 2024, we are officially included. I think they, and I didn't follow up on this, but I think they are allowing one person on the school committee non-voting right now.
Okay.
So I have to go back and figure out the procedure for that, if that's something we do as a board or school committee handles that. So I will take a look at that so that we can get somebody over there to get up to speed with what's going on with the new school and everything going on there. They can't vote right now, but they can at least participate. But that is official, so I got the letter a week or two ago. So
These are all the road opening ones.
Has the cost changed at all?
Does
I know
everyone need to sign them?
as we're leading up to it, the costs changed from time to time. Have we got new numbers or?
I don't have new numbers as of yet. I can follow up and try to get the new numbers because for us it won't hit until our next budget season.
Right.
But I can find out where the cost of the new school is because I'm sure that's a moving target.
Yeah.
And our taxpayers will want to know.
I think we all agree that it's needed for the children, but at the same time, we have to give them all the information that they would want.
Yeah.
As far as finances and
Well, we have the override for the school, but just sending our kids to
It's just
the
you, though.
vocational school and being a member, we lose
Just right
The
here,
assessment, was it $700,000 we lose?
lose $500,000 in credits, and the operation of the school is more money, so it's still going to be felt in our budgets.
Yeah.
Although I think doable, and we will know more obviously as we get closer to that. But I can follow up with the school and see if I can get newest numbers.
This is all three of you. It's the Commission on Disability.
And I just want to let everybody know we're going to have a meeting on September 14th to go over the Four Corners intersection and take a look at some conceptual designs to improve that. So that's going to be a hybrid meeting. The public can attend in person or through Zoom.
Appointment slips.
So
Do we have the plans already so we can review them ahead of time?
I do have some conceptual drawings. I would like to meet the abutters, the immediate abutters, and disclose it to them before we put them up on any kind of social media. I just like to give them the opportunity to look at them first and compile their questions. On the 14th, we'll have the engineers here to answer questions. So I want to give them a little more time to develop questions. And I'm meeting with them next Monday night. They have a letter went out last Friday that I don't know that they all have and not yet.
Any concerns come in yet?
What?
Any concerns? You said the letters went out. Has anybody contacted you yet? Or?
No, I think one of them did try, but I haven't talked to them today. Not that there's any concerns. They don't. I want to show them. It's just this is going to be a process. I think it's not something we're going to say. Oh, yep, this is what we're going to do and just do it. I think it's going to be a little bit of back and forth and input from the public and then funding. Right? It's not a cheap undertaking. Any of the projects. I want to say range from $800,000 to $1 million to repair the intersection, depending on the option. We can get a grant for complete streets up to $500,000, but there will still be obviously a town piece of this. So that's, we don't know. We may not be able to fund it. But first, we need to get the public's input about how you want to move forward, if at all.
The only consensus we'll get there is no lights.
Mhm.
No lights.
That's a big one.
That's Tim's disclosure. Memorial Chase.
Top one.
Whichever you want, pass it along.
Just nope.
Nope, just three of them. Everybody wants an original.
Just a file away to draw.
I'm trying to sign this one.
Yeah, I just didn't know what we had
It'd be
to
nice if we could do DocuSign, but we have to sign on camera, so that's impossible.
sign the bottom one there. This is Tim's disclosure.
I'd like to get DocuSign.
Coming
I have
up.
it.
I know we do the
We have
KOA,
it, and
holiday
now you'll
KOA.
get the same
It's in October this
I
year,
use
right?
DocuSign a lot of work.
Yeah, well, that would be my guess. That's usually one.
All right, are we done?
Looks like we're done.
Okay, so with that, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion made.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.